I'm gonna not face the camera so they can't see.
That's probably good. Don't see it. I won't look at it. Alright, I should have practiced. Well, what are you gonna do?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm all excited
This
about
is why you don't do it for family and friends, because you're like, whatever.
Channel couples retreat when they're like testicular cancer. Oh my god, yes.
Alright. Michael, are you ready?
We're videoing.
Jeez. Alright. Alright. Well, hello everyone. Thanks so much for coming out and listening to my little lecture on Earthships. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Courtney Savage. I'm currently enrolled at Buffalo College, and darn it, can we start now? I said the wrong university. We can't do that. That will be it, I promise. Okay.
Is it not Buffalo College?
No, it's
Buffalo
Buffalo
State.
State University. It's a SUNY school.
Buffalo College.
Can't do that.
Or
Alright,
just go with
okay.
that white thing.
This is bad. Okay.
Alright,
Alright. Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Do they know you're pregnant? Because they will today.
Yeah. Okay. You ready, Michael?
Still videoing.
Oh,
You're good.
Okay. All right, you guys. Well, welcome to my lecture on Earthships. My name is Courtney Savage, and I'm currently enrolled in Buffalo State University in a master's program in adult education. Tonight, I'm doing a lecture on Earthships, and I'm doing it for two reasons. The first is that this is a graded assignment for the semester. And the second is that I did an awesome experience over the summer where I worked as an intern building Earthships. And I was really excited about sharing this experience with you guys. So tonight I'm going to talk about Earthships. I do want you to know that I'm not an expert in this field. I'm going to teach you what I know. If you have questions at the end, feel free to ask, but hold your questions until the end. All right? Kendra, if you could go on. Thank you. So for those of you in this room, how many of you have seen, been in, or heard of an Earthship before? Pretty much all of you, except for one. Excellent. Well, you're probably wondering, if you haven't been in one, what the heck is an Earthship? It definitely is a really weird, strange sounding name, and it's a super funky looking building. If you go back, you can kind of see this is an example right here of an Earthship. It's a home that's built into the ground. Earthships are pretty amazing though because they're fully sustainable, autonomous, passive solar homes, which means that they're fully off the grid. They're not relying on any fossil fuels to power the home. So basically, I like to think of an Earthship as an ecosystem. Everything kind of works together, abiotic and biotic elements work together to make it function properly in its environment. It also works and lives within the environment that it's built. So this is just kind of a little example or a floor layout of an Earthship right here, and I'll come back to that in just a sec. Thanks. Okay, so there are 6 principles that make an Earthship an Earthship. The first one being thermal heating and cooling. The second one is solar, wind, and electricity. The third one is contained sewage treatment. The fourth one is building with natural and recycled materials. The fifth one is water harvesting, and the sixth one is food production. So I just kind of want to go through these because I think they're all really neat. But the first one is thermal heating and cooling. Actually, don't think that. Let me go back one. Okay, so the ground temperature is always at a constant 55 degrees. An Earthship is actually built into the ground, and it's a horizontal building. So the backside of the Earthship, which is right here, is completely built into the ground, or ground is kind of rammed up around the Earthship itself. The front side of the Earthship, which is all glass, is actually facing southeast. So anywhere that you build an Earthship, it's always going to be 70 degrees, give or take 2 degrees on either end, which is pretty cool. So you can build in a really cold or warm climate, you're always going to have 70 degrees. So basically how it works is on this back side here, all of the dirt is kind of pushed up against the Earthship, and there are cooling tubes that come off the back, and they extend about 30 feet off the back side. And those cooling tubes are below the ground, so all of the air in that tube is actually about 55 degrees. The front of the Earthship is a full-on greenhouse. It doesn't really show it, and I'll show it to you guys later, but basically all of that sun comes in and collects in the greenhouse, And on the top of the greenhouse there are ventilation boxes. So in the summer, those ventilation boxes are opened to kind of release that hot air. And then when they're also opened, it pulls in that cool air through the dirt, so the house is always blowing in 55-degree temperatures. Pretty cool. It definitely keeps the house very cool. In the winter, basically the sun's coming in at a lower angle, so it's penetrating further to the back. These homes are pretty shallow, and so all of that hot air kind of rises in the greenhouse. Those ventilation boxes stay closed, and the air kind of expands throughout the house. So that's how it kind of stays hot and cold. The second component is solar, wind, and electricity. And this is, very simple. There's photovoltaic panels, and there are wind turbines. They collect that energy, and they're stored in batteries, and then kind of dispersed throughout the house. Contains sewage treatment. So in the front of the house, there's a big greenhouse here, and there are botanical cells. And then in the outside of the house, there are botanical cells as well. And this is kind of the septic here. So basically that sewage is collected, and then it goes out, and it goes into the outdoor botanical cell, and basically it creates beautiful landscaping for your home. So it's really cool. It never goes into the aquifers. The fourth one, which I think is just the neatest, is that the house is pretty much built with garbage. The whole thing is garbage. So it's made with, the foundation are tires, and the tires are basically pounded with earth that's around the home. And you pound probably for 10 minutes on a tire, and then you stack these tires up so they make bricks. Each tire weighs 400 pounds. So they're super, super compact, and they are the load-bearing walls in the house. So in between, basically you have this as the foundation, and then the walls are created by recycled, reused beer bottles and soda cans. So basically they're also considered bricks. And I wish I could have a demo for you guys, but you stack them on top of each other, and you put cement around them. So they're just kind of space fillers. And then the front of the house is completely created by glass bottle bricks. So you cut the glass bottles in half, you put them together, you tape them, and then you stack them up, and I'll show you photos. But basically those make beautiful designs within your home. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so that's building with natural recycled materials. The fifth one is water harvesting, and basically Earthship collects all of the water from the sky, snow and rain. So the top of the house, there's an angled roof, and basically the surface of that roof collects all the water. That water pretty much funnels back. It goes through a silt filtration system into cisterns. Once they're in the cisterns, the first usage of the water is people drink it, people shower, bathe, all that good stuff. After they do that, then that water goes into all of the plant cells up here, and basically it waters all of the plants that you're growing. Woo, okay. Breathe, okay. And then once they've gone through the plant cells and you're growing all of this food here, then that water is filtered through the soil and it goes into your toilet. So that's gray water at that point. Once you flush that water, it then goes into the septic and out into the yard. So the water is used 4 times. It's pretty cool. Last one, food production. So the house obviously has a huge greenhouse in the front, and you're growing really amazing food year-round. So pretty awesome. You can grow a fig tree, citrus tree, banana tree, whatever you want, any time of year you want, any climate you're in. So those are the principles that support the home. Go on to the next one. And I just want to show you guys, I think this is a really good little model of what actually is happening as the home is being built. And the music's good as well. So hopefully it comes up. So here's the foundation with the tires. This is kind of a retaining wall that comes around the house. And the soil is basically built up behind the tires as well. That might be. Typically, Earthships use about 800 tires to build their house, and they're all tubes that come through the back. The water cisterns are here. Obviously, the ventilation tubes coming into the house. So this is just pounding earth into the tire, and this is an exhausting job. This is why you want to get a big group of people helping you build earth ships. More structure within the home. So there is a little bit of wood being used in the front, but that's really it. That's what makes this building so sustainable compared to conventional housing. These are called bigas, and they're basically trees that they bring in. The metal roofing is at a pretty low angle, but this is how it collects the water. Greenhouse going in the front. All our ships have a greenhouse. These are the ventilation boxes that are manually opened and closed depending on the season. When they're open, they're pulling in that air. Basically, it looks like a big ant mound. Eventually, these walls are covered with adobe or whatever materials around your home. This is the bottle bricks. And then now it's just turning into your conventional home. These are kind of the glass bottle walls that you build in your house, allowing the warm air in from the greenhouse if you want that. This is one of the earth ships they have on their site. It's really cool. If you're ever in Taos, New Mexico, you should go check it out. You have to eat hibiscus. Alright, so that kind of gave you a good visual of how they're built. Typically when you build an earth ship, you want a lot of people to help you because pounding tires is the hardest thing and it's exhausting. But those tires last forever. They're weight bearing. They did a ton of tests, just kind of gauging how strong it was, and they drove up huge trucks, cement trucks on top of the home, and nothing happened to the home. So really amazing structure. You can go to the next one. Okay, sorry. No, that's fine. So a lot of people ask me, like, well, how did you find out about Earthship? How did you get to where you were? And in all honesty, it was my husband's relentlessness to kind of get to where, to me, actually liking an Earthship. As long as I've known him, which has been 10 years, he has wanted to build an Earthship. And I'm not going to lie when I say that I was turned off kind of by the exterior. Aesthetically, it's not the best looking building. Inside it's incredible though, it makes up for the outside. And I kind of wanted to build a more conventional home, but we always had a desire to build an energy efficient house, and we had talked about building a yurt, straw bale, cob, but we're still kind of stuck on building an earthship. So he eventually convinced me to watch Garbage Warrior, which is an incredible documentary, and I definitely sang a different tune after we watched it, and I'll show you a short clip of that in a second. After we watched it, I wanted to build one, and we found out that there was an earthship being built in Ithaca, New York. So we kind of stalked them for, I would say, 5 months or so. We sent them messages and asked them if we can come help them build, and eventually they responded, so we went and looked at their home, and it kind of sealed the deal for us. We knew we wanted to do it. We applied for an internship in Taos, New Mexico to build earthships, and we did. So for the month of August, we built an earthship, and it was a really amazing experience. So now we're sold, we want to build one, and hopefully we will. But I just want to show you just a trailer from the Garbage Warrior. It's more about him at this point kind of fighting U.S. standards and regulations to build homes made out of garbage. Obviously, government regulation doesn't allow that necessarily, so it's kind of his plight going against the government to build. And he goes all over the world to build these homes, and it's just really incredible. So there is swearing in this film. I hope that you're not offended, but go ahead and press play.
My utility bills for the first year here, I've been here a little over a year, were $47.
I think they're devised ways to demonstrate change fast.
This is Michael Reynolds. He is the owner and creator of Earthship Architect.
Took all the architecture courses, got my degree, and I began right then to think that architecture was worthless.
Just because you're hooked up to a municipal water system and a power system, it doesn't mean that those things are always going to be there.
I would like to be around long enough to see cities.
This is the community we lived in while we were doing the while we did our internship.
Earthship, that was a problem.
We're vulnerable because we are running sewage through the living room, because we are building out of garbage.
When you're legal, essentially.
If there are complaints when you're vulnerable, you are going to get shredded. And I got shredded.
They shut us down. Code enforcers with guns on.
We filed 5 subdivision actions at the same time.
I was twisting the law, trying to get the housing out there, folks.
Okay, Senator.
Sorry to be running, but
It's too late. We got to redraft it so that it sounds more credible, more legitimate.
not just what we're working on. Yeah, good argument.
As soon as an environmental activist stands up and says that, it's over with.
We'll call it out. Up for roll call.
It's a sick looking situation. It's down to push and shove and who can get what out of who. And the question is, do I ever want to do this shit?
They have water problems, they have sewage problems, they have shelter problems.
1 rupee per bottle.
We came to show the local people how to use the garbage that's laying all over their town to make buildings that'll catch water and contain sewage.